ready for two wild guys throwing out spicy ideals on fantasy football. Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniacs. Trust at your own risk.
Because what I'm fixing to say is going to blow your mind. Oh, don't I blow your mind every week?
At this point, it'd be kind of hard for you to do that anymore.
I've done conditioned you to the greatness. Uh,
I don't know if you want to say that, but okay.
so I'm still doing very well in fantasy, guys. So we're now going to be projecting week 7. I'm still every week so far, knock on wood, I've been very successful. Now, a little worried coming into these next couple weeks because in one of these leagues, I'm expecting to take a lot of losses because my backups and my starters are all in IR. And I am pulling things off a waiver wire to plug in certain spots and trying to use whatever advantage I can to do anything in this league. But sometimes that's how it happens. I mean, I actually have 2 running backs on the same team, Najee Harris and Omar, both on the same team, both on IR. And guess what? I don't get to play them, but they're on my team. But I'm not going to throw them away either. I did put them both down in the IR bench, and I am trying to do whatever I can to fill in the spots and hopefully survive. But the only reason I even looked up with Omar is thanks to Austin over there for teaching me a lesson not to count on everything on Trevion Henderson. He knew I would have picked him at the second pick, but he just did. He tended to teach me a valuable lesson, which I thank him because.
Well, at least Travion's still healthy.
Well, yeah, that is kind of a little irritating. Oh, wow. Did he just rub that one in? Even my backup can't even play for me. And I had Najee Harris. That's just terrible.
Oh, dang.
Let me get a little sip before I run through these teams. So I'm going to give you guys my best prediction. Some of these are pretty much gimmies, and then some of them are like little surprises that are happening due to injuries and situations that are occurring on the teams. So I'm trying to stay as fluid as I possibly can. Okay, going in week 7, we got the Bills and the Ravens on bye. So a lot of people are going to be hurting, especially the guys that got Josh Allen and James Cook and Derrick Henry, and luckily week 7, the team I'm going up with, I think, actually had Derrick Henry. So I'm like clapping my hands in 2 of my leagues. I'm like, not that week, you don't. But in 1 week, I don't think it matters. I think one of the leagues is where I have all my running backs on IR. This guy's got a whole slew of running backs. Actually, I believe he has my 3rd backup from the Chargers. He has Vidal. So Vidal or whatever his name is. So he'll end up beating me with the 3rd backup. Whatever. That's fantasy for you. So to start with my number 1 guy, I'm gonna this week I'm not gonna lean so heavy on IDP. I'm gonna do 2 IDP and then the rest offense. So I'm gonna start off with my IDP and get them out of the way. My first IDP I want to give you guys is a defensive back, and that's Cameron Kitchens. Now, he's projected that week to score 23.62. This is one of his highest projections. So they went from projecting him at like 6 and 8 to 23. I believe his ceiling could be 30. I still believe he will have his highest output in week 7 so far this season. And so far, he's on the highest score he's had is 17, and his low has been 3, but he's been consistently getting over 50-plus snaps for the defensive side. I believe that's going to increase a little bit more. He's been in 50-plus defensive snaps, not 50%. Let me rephrase that. I do believe he's going to hit his ceiling. He's definitely starting to come. You can see the last couple games, he's starting to really dive in as a defensive back. He is a free safety. He plays for the LA Rams, but why I think he's going to be really well in week 7 is they're playing at Jacksonville. I think something's just going to happen. So they have him actually in sleeper projected 1 as defensive back and 1 overall. I don't think he's going to finish that high. I'm not giving him that much credit. I don't think he's even going to hit. I think his ceiling could be 30, but I think he's going to go more 17 plus, which is still good because it'll be the second time he scored over 17. And he's going to start really being a solidified defensive back position, either your defensive back 2 or IDP flex, depending on how your league's set up. Some leagues have two DBs, and some leagues only have one DB in IDP flex. I think he'll be a good flex position and also a good DB2 if you need one. So I think he'll finish in the top 6 as a defensive back, not one. And I think overall he'll finish top 28. I don't think he'll finish number 1 overall. Going on to my second, and I'm still saying he's a good start, guys. I just think Sleeper has him over projected, in my honest opinion. Number 2, I got Troy Dye for the LA Chargers. Okay. So far, he started the league in 2020 with Minnesota. And in 2024, he joined the LA Chargers. He's been a high impact. He's not been really a high impact player the last couple seasons. I think the highest season, well, I know for the fact the highest season he had was last year, and it was 99 points is what he scored total fantasy points in PPR. So far, he's exceeded all projections and expected. And so far, his lowest score has only been 3 this year, but he's had a lot of 17s and 24s. That's pretty good. He's really warming up. His 3 was early in the game, and the last game he played in, he had scored week 5. He scored 24. Week 4, he scored 17. I really think he's going to score high week 6, and in week 7, we're going to see him even stay higher. As long as he stays healthy, I believe he's going to be a great IDP flex and a great LB2 or LB1 if you need one, because I think he's going to be very consistent. And as we always said, the funny thing about defensive players, a lot of these guys age like wine. And he's already been in the 5 years in the game. And you could definitely see the progression from day 1 at Minnesota and working his way up. Let's give you another example. Zach Bond started with the Saints. Hardly did anything, and he worked his way up. There's so many of them we can name off if we want to sit here and go around and around. But I'm telling you guys, as a linebacker for 2025, yeah, he's only projected, and I don't like to say his projection. So I know Austin always counter checks me sometimes, but I'm not going to say his number. I'm going to say 6.68. I just can't say the other number. But he's not supposed to get over 6. So... And now he knows what I'm talking about.
I'm not going to say it.
All right. So, but I believe he'll be 15 plus over. He's projected to finish 114 with the linebackers and 477 overall. I think he'll finish in the top 25 for linebackers in week 7 and top 75, because usually a linebacker that finishes in the top 75 will be in the top 25 of his class. Linebackers score pretty good points. You can tell position differences between how you rank the top finish and then the overall top finish. And you'll see that when we get to the tight end projection I have. The next one is going to be a shocker. And it maybe not so. I mean, maybe it's always been common sense, but not so. Like, he's not your James Cook or your Derrick Henry or I'll even say it, Zeke Elliott when he was good. And he could be back into pro soon. There's been rumors about that. If you see me picking him up on the waiver wire, that's just because I have hope. I'm that hopeful guy.
You would probably be the only one, brother.
I was the one that picked up Tom Brady when they had the first rumors come out that he was coming back, and then asked someone if he wanted to trade for him. So I am that guy. So I'm going to go with the Panthers player, running back, Rico Dowell. Yes. By week 7, Chuba Hubbard might be back. He's out with a calf, but what I'm saying is even if he returned week 7, the way Rico's performing, I still think he'll be running back 1 week 7 for the Panthers, because you can see Chuba's older. He's going to be nursing that injury, and as long as Rico don't drop the ball or mess it up at this point, they're going to let him have the carries. And yeah, I think now.
I was going to say real quick, even if he does come back, they probably are going to have Chuba on a limited snap count, so they're not going to just fling him back in it. So Rico will still be valuable in week 7.
Yeah, even though Sleeper doesn't think so. They had dropped his projection down to 8.61. I believe he'll be over 15 plus. He was projected only 34 as a running back. 348 overall. I think he'll finish in the top 15 and top 75 overall players if he scores over 15 plus. And they're playing at New Jersey. So I think there's a good chance that Rico's going to be a very good play. So if you have Rico, you should definitely be playing him in one of your flex spots. Because bye week, right? If you're that Derrick Henry guy, you got Rico. Here, there's your replacement. I think you're going to be confident enough to be fine with that 15 plus points. Now, number 4 is kind of like I should have already known better. It's my wide receiver time. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up his name is he's been out of the picture for almost the whole entire year and part of a year because of bad little things that bad little boys do. Rashee Rice is coming back. And I think Game 7, with all the issues that they've had at the wide receiver part at Kansas, they're looking for that solidified wide receiver 1. And I think Rashee Rice is the guy that's going to be like, hey, I want to grab it. I want to take it. And I want that wide receiver 1 back. Yeah, I was a bad boy. Now I'm going to be a good boy and then be bad boy after school or work, whatever you want to call it. So he's coming off his suspension, Game 7. They're going to be playing Las Vegas. I believe out the gate he's going to prove to be what he's always thought to be, is the wide receiver 1. I think he'll be way over plus. They only got him projected 15.95, which is good. But I think he'll be over 20 plus in fantasy for PPR. So if you got all the bonus leads, you're talking higher. So he's projected 8 over wide receiver and 56 overall, and I think he'll finish top 5 for wide receiver and top 20 overall. And what was you going to say?
And let me add to this, since you stole him from me.
Oh yeah, you knew I was stealing him.
My points that I was going to bring up is they ain't really got nobody else to throw to. I mean, Travis Kelce isn't doing what he used to do, and I mean, you got a bunch of makeshift wide receivers out there. Xavier Worthy can't stay on the field because he's been hurt all year. When he does get back on the field, he winds up getting hurt again because now he's questionable for even to be in this week. So, Rashee Rice is going to be a target hog whenever he does come back to play in week 7.
And I totally agree with that. And then I'm going to take a page. I'm going to take a page out of Austin's book from last week. And he's right. As much as tight end stuff we do as specials and stuff on off season, and some people comment and say some of our best content is between IDP and tight ends. We have not gave him enough love in this show until last week. Austin brought one up, and now I'm going to bring one up. Now I'm going to bring a veteran up. He's been in the league for 9 years. He's played with New England. And in most teams, he is your tight end 1, Hunter Henry. But that's if you didn't get the top tight ends. Like if you didn't get the Sam Laporta, the Kelce's, and so on. You just say, oh, I got Hunter Henry. But Hunter Henry ain't that bad. He's actually been tight end 1 this season. That was, week 4 or 5 or something? One of them weeks he was, week 5, I believe. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. But he was tight end 1 once this year. They have him only projected 10.13. I think he'll score over 15 plus against Tennessee at Tennessee. And I just think that week when they're playing against Tennessee, he's going to be the focus point. He's going to have another bang-out day. He's going to be over 15 plus. He's only projected to be 9th in the tight ends, 272 overall. I think he's going to finish top 3 as a tight end and in the top 75 overall. And that's where I was talking about positional a minute ago when I said someone finished in top 5.
It was in week 3 when he finished as the tight end 1.
Yep. Top 3. Yep. I see it now. Week 3. I have it over here. It's just the way my notes are written. I had them jumbled up. I couldn't figure it out if it said week 4 or week 3. So So I mean, if you're not that week, I'm saying this because of bye weeks, injuries, and everything, you're scrounging for whatever you got. Say you have a Sam Laporta, you got a Hunter Henry as your backup. I say he's safe to start as a flex. You don't really want to do that with tight ends. But if you're struggling, like in one league, I'm struggling with running backs and wide receivers out. Sometimes you have to rely on a tight end. You'd rather get something than nothing, guys. Don't get that fat zero. And I'm telling you, this tight end ain't. Now, I know he had a bad week one week, but I'm just thinking where they're at right now, the way Drake May's been handling things, it's only going to help Hunter Henry. It's only going to help Hunter Henry. I was a Drake May hater, and now I got to understand that Drake May is a mediocre Trevor Lawrence, and it's going to be there. Oh, I don't think he's any.
Well, he's actually right now the quarterback 7 of the year so far, and
Well,
Trevor
okay.
Lawrence is quarterback 18. So,
Well, in my eyes, he's still Trevor Lawrence level, but one day he'll get to
uh,
that 7.
uh, Trevor Lawrence is so damn overrated.
I agree.
Drake May right now is a top 10 quarterback, and that sleeper is showing it now. So,
Yeah. And that's where I'm going to go into my next segment before I turn this over to Austin. Uh, yeah, so we want to talk quarterbacks. Let's talk about some hot messes. Let me start with a hot mess. And this is my take on it. I'm watching it, and I don't think it's going the right direction, and I don't think it's going to go the right direction. And if you think it's going to go the right direction, I think you really need to think hard. We've seen this show before. We've seen it before. And a lot of people had hope then. Where did that hope get you? Got you nowhere. It got you Kirk Cousin, but where did that get you? It got you even worse. So I'm looking at Michael Penix. All right, he's a roller coaster. His season, if you compare it to what he's done so far and what Desmond Ritter did, there's no difference. You're on the same path. If he could still continues the way he's doing, he's going to have the same record that Desmond Ritter had in 2023. I sat there and put the seasons together. I do believe his projection's 1438. Maybe this is a sign. Uh, he will. I'm choking, so it got to be a sign. He'll be minus 15 in fantasy points that week, 7 at San Francisco. He's projected to finish as 23 quarterback, 91 overall. He'll be lucky to finish 30. He'll be below 30. And he will not pass overall 154. So I don't think he's going to be that high of an output week 7. So you definitely need to be looking for another quarterback or figuring something out. Back onto my little pedestal. So right now what I see at Atlanta is Atlanta's got 2 things going for them. We know what Atlanta's going to do. They're going to run the season with this guy. Kirk Cousin ain't nothing to really turn to and help him out. We'll get a few more flashes, but we're also going to get a whole lot of disappointments. So I think that Atlanta probably already thinking in their head with what they've seen, and they've seen enough to say, maybe we made another bad choice. So let's see how all that plays out in Atlanta. Now, I know we're only in week 6 and going in week 7. So he could still turn this around, but right now I'm saying at week 7, he shouldn't be your QB1 unless that's the only thing you guys got. I wouldn't even play him as your quarterback flex in a quarterback flex league. I don't want 5 points. I want 15 or 16 or better. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Austin and let him decide what his top 5 is.
well, I've already decided. But I had to make a pivot on my wide receiver since you called out Rashee Rice, but I already got a replacement for him. So I'm going to start off. With a give me, and he has a chance to finish as the number 1 quarterback that week, and it's Jaden Daniels. They are going up against the Cowboys, and you want to have a starting spot on any quarterback going up against the Cowboys on any given week, because every single quarterback that has played against them has been a top 10 quarterback in fantasy. So I expect Jaden Daniels to do nothing less than to be a top 5 quarterback during that week. I mean, the Cowboys have just given up a lot of points to the quarterbacks. It's the same thing as every week. Um, you should definitely make sure you put him in. Which, if you have him, you should be starting him regardless. But this is for the guys who like to draft a bunch of quarterbacks first and then draft the rest of your team. I know some of you people out there.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Or don't
but
drop.
now, yeah. But in all reality, you really do need to. I mean, after looking at everything, Jaden Daniels is probably going to be the highest one to score the most this week since they're going up against the Cowboys. They're giving up 27.12 against quarterbacks, and he's projected in the range of 22. That's already the average of what they're giving up. So I expect them to be a top 5 quarterback during week 7. So now let's go to a different one. Let's go to a running back that may or may not be expected. Just depends on people's perception on it. But I'm gonna go with New England's running back Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going with him because Mike Vrabel has basically done shown us that he really likes Ramondre Stevenson. Even drafting Travion Henderson in the second round. He's going old school. He's choosing the veteran over the rookie, which right now it's fine. I still predict Travion Henderson to take over eventually, whether it be later this year or next year. We'll see. But um, right now, yeah, Ramondre, they're giving him the snaps. They're giving him the attempts. Uh, even with the fumbles, even with his fumbling problem, they still have been going to him. They're going up against the Titans. They are horrible. They are horrible against. They're like the third worst right now against running backs with 30.34 average points against running backs. They have allowed so far 613 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns against fantasy running backs, and that is the most so far this year in the NFL. So I see Ramondre getting at least. I'm gonna say at least if the line was 1.5, I'm gonna go over, and I would say around 2. He was gonna score 2 rushing touchdowns against the Titans because they're just horrible. Because I mean, Michael Carter, who they played against the Cardinals this past week. Michael Carter finished as the RB9, and then when the Titans played the Texans, Woody Marks, he finished as the RB6. So, and I'm not even gonna bring up Jonathan Taylor because we obviously know how that went. That he wound up being RB1 and just demolished the Titans single handedly, basically. But Jonathan Taylor's just having an MVP year. So, but the Titans' rush defense is awful. The Mike Vrabel and this Patriots coaching staff loves Ramondre, and now with Antonio Gibson being hurt, they're in talks right now of giving Ramondre a more workload. So right now, this week 7, I I project him to at least finish in. I project him to be in the top 10 with going up against the Titans that week. All right, so now I'm going to my pivot since you took Rashee Rice from me. I'm going to my pivot, and I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton and the Broncos will be going against the New York Giants. And they are their defense on their front defensive front is good, but their secondary is terrible. Secondary because right now they're averaging 38.6 points to wide receivers. Um, they've been already gave up over 1,000 yards to wide receivers just by themselves. That's not including tight ends and running backs in the throw in the air. So that's a lot. Their secondary is very questionable. The Broncos, we've seen what they can do in times. Cortland Sutton has been a target hog for this offense. He got 10 targets against Philly. He's been getting 6 targets, 8 targets, 4, and 9. So I see that trend continuing. And going up against the Giants in this secondary, right now he's the wide receiver 10 of the year. I I still see him staying in the top 10, whether it be in the edge of 10 or 11, but I still see him being in the top 10, especially after going up against the Giants and that secondary.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
yeah. So you just talk about Cortland Sutton. He only had one bad appearance, and that was at Indianapolis. That was the least amount of targets he had, which was 4, but he didn't do much with it. But after that, you're right. He's like 9, 8, 6, and 10, and each one of them, it's double digit for yards per carry. In 3 of them games, he scored a touchdown each game. And on top of that, he's above 80% in them 4 games I'm talking about in snap percentage. In the game that he didn't have the greatest percentage, he was just 78%, which is still.
Yeah, that in the Indy game, I think he, because I see where he's only played 78% snaps. I think towards, I don't know if it was the third quarter or like the beginning of the fourth quarter, but I think he like got hurt or something,
Yeah,
and he went to the sideline, and they kind of didn't really use him after that. But yeah, man, I mean, Bo Nix really likes Cortland Sutton. He has been throwing it to him, so that is my pivot on the wide receiver department. And like I said, I think he's going to finish in the top 10 that week because the Giants secondary, as long as you can block them that front, you can throw on them all day. All right, so we're going to show some more tight end love here. And we are going to, this really surprised me. He's starting to get hot. The past 2 games, he saw 81% snap, 84% snap. He had 12 targets in week 5, and then he had 7 targets in week 4. He actually had 6 targets in week 3. So he's starting to get more involved in the offense. Um, and this matchup against Carolina, they are terrible against tight ends this year. They are actually, they're projected right now. They are averaging 18.2 fantasy points against opposing tight ends. They have allowed 401 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns against opposing tight ends, which is actually the worst. Yeah, the yardage wise, that's the worst. They've allowed more yards than any other team against tight ends, and I'm gonna go with Mason Taylor, the rookie out of New York Jets. They are going to play, like I said, the Panthers. He's already projected 8.8 against that week, which I think, by the way his targets have been going here lately, I see Justin Fields is really starting to mesh with him. I see those targets kind of staying in that range, and I can see him easily getting anywhere from 11 points to 17 to 20, depending on if he scores a touchdown. Because, I mean, he got 9 receptions, 67 yards against Dallas. And the Panthers are actually worse than Dallas against tight ends. So I can see him busting up in there around the 15 to 17 mark, especially if he scores a touchdown.
Which he hasn't done that this year so far.
Yeah, he hasn't done that this year, but
It's coming.
in my opinion, be expecting it in the Carolina game. I'm predicting that if he doesn't get one against Denver in week 7, I'm predicting his first touchdown being in Carolina.
I like it. Now
So
he was one of the big tight ends I was heavy on coming out a rookie this year in the draft. I thought he would do just as good, if not better, than Tyler Warren. But Tyler Warren pretty much jumped out there and did what he was supposed to do right away. Uh,
right,
so I did have Mason Taylor up in that category and thought he
he's
would
a
end up being a good tight end.
well, he's a slow. You got some of those like the past few years, like your Sam Laporta, and then now and your Brock Bowers, and now your Tyler Warren. You got some of those that just right out of the gate just get out guns blazing. But then you got some that take a little bit of time, which is starting to look like Mason Taylor. It only took him like his first 2 weeks. He only got 1 target in his first week and 2 targets in the second week. But then after that, he started getting 6 targets, 7 targets, 12 targets. So he's starting to come along. He's starting to get involved. So that's I'm definitely aiming towards, if I have Mason Taylor, I'm definitely aiming towards starting him over a handful of tight ends in week 7. So I'm going to go now to the defensive side for my 4th pick. And I noticed him recently, and I've been looking at his snaps and stat uh, points, and I like what I see, and I actually think he's going to project. Right now, he's projected as 14.56 points. I think he could get higher than that because it's looking like he's been a tackling machine. And he's also got a couple of interceptions this year. He's the number 19 rated defensive back by what Sleeper is saying. I'm going to go with Seattle's defensive back, Kobe Bryant. He had 17 points last week with 8 tackles. And he did that with 61% snaps, which for most of the part, Sam Darnold with them has on the time of possession kind of took over that game a little bit because they were scoring like nonstop. They were kind of going back and forth, so that was a shootout in that game. So, but his percentage of snaps, he had 76, 62, 67, 67, and 61. I predict that actually predict them to project higher due to the fact that a lot of their defensive players, like their corners, are actually hurt. Like a lot of the defensive players for the Seahawks have been hurt for the past few weeks, and it's probably going to have to rely on him a lot more, especially if they keep going back and forth on being questionable, then being out, then coming back in and play, but then wind up being out again, because that's basically what some of the defensive players for Seattle has been doing this year. I should know because I have some of them in other leagues, and they have been doing that to me all year so far. So, and it's crazy because you need to check him because he's actually on a lot. He's actually on he's only 25% roster, which means he's out there on the waiver wires,
Yes.
and he's a good waiver wire pickup, especially if you're looking for DB help for your bye weeks or if they're hurt. If you need somebody to pick up and play, he can definitely do it. And I actually think by the way he goes, he can actually wind up carving a permanent role on your team by the way his projections on the way his usage is going with all these injuries and stuff. So definitely keep an eye out on Kobe Bryant. Check your waiver wire. Definitely go pick him up.
And a
Now,
little
go ahead.
fantasy advice for the rookies out there that are just learning how to play fantasy and dynasty. Uh, put your injury on IR. Go pick him up. Now, if you get a good player like Austin just said, Kobe Bryant's a good player. You put him on your team. But if you got a Brian Branch or something in your IR, you don't drop him to the waiver wire. You figure something
Mm-mm.
out on your team. That guy's a lot higher than that other guy.
Yeah,
Don't make
no,
that mistake.
no. If you have your IRs filled up and you got to pick him because you need somebody, you need to basically look at your team and pick the lowest link on your
Yep.
team.
Pick the lowest link.
Pick somebody who's not really doing much, even though they might have one big game like 2 weeks ago, but has only been getting like 8 points, 5 points, or throughout the rest of the games. Go ahead and cut him.
Yeah.
Don't hang on that hope because Kobe Bryant will probably actually do better than whoever that other DB is who's only had one big game and the rest have been mediocre or hardly doing anything.
Yeah. And a lot of times the bench does kind of restrict you, but you got to learn how to manage that. And Austin pointed out a good thing. Always get your weakest link. Don't go and get rid of your
And
star player.
And yeah, and it doesn't have to be in the same defensive back position either. If you're really strong there, then look in your other positions. If you have a weaker link there that somebody that hasn't done nothing, then just go ahead and drop them. I mean,
Yeah.
why hang on to somebody who probably ain't gonna do nothing when you can have somebody like Kobe Bryant or anybody who is producing out there who's just sitting on the waiver wire who can help you out.
Yeah, and if they're not doing every day and they're only scoring 3 to 5 points and they only had that one big game, there's a bunch of them on the waiver wire already like that. So if you have to get another one to fill in for a bye week later on, you're still going to have a choice to get something.
Right. So now I'm going to go to my fifth start, and you're definitely not going to get him on the waiver wire because he is 96% rostered. But I had to choose him because the matchup is just too juicy. Uh, he's the number one ranked linebacker right now, and he's going up against Minnesota, and I'm picking Zach Bond. The reason why I'm picking Zach Bond is because Minnesota has been the most terrible at offensive line. They have given up 22 sacks. So therefore, you should really. That's what I was saying. Start Zach Bond because the Minnesota's offensive line has been kind of terrible this year so far. They've given up 22 sacks, which is the most in the NFL. So the Eagles line, they could be anybody to go out there and get a sack. There'll probably be more people getting out there getting sacked because their offensive line is pretty rough. But Zach Bond, he's a tackling machine. He's already got 2 sacks this year. He's forced to fumble this year, and he's already got an interception. So he can do all kinds of things like that. And it's more likely Carson Wentz will be starting unless J.J. McCarthy is somehow healthy. But all in honesty, I haven't seen no news trending to where it says that J.J. McCarthy is going to be starting. I really
Yeah.
don't know when he's started, to be honest with you. I don't know when he's coming back.
He might not come back this season. Don't get your hopes up, guys.
I mean, that right now are they projecting him to come back against Philly? But right now, I'm just even if it is J.J. McCarthy, I mean, he's going to get back into the swing of things after being out so long. So it's still the offensive line who's giving up 22 sacks. So it doesn't matter who really starts the quarterback. Zach Bond's going to have a day. So I say definitely get him in your lineups. Now I am going to give you my don't you start him. Don't even think about it. It ain't worth it. And you need to definitely start or sit. You need to sit Sam Darnold. They're playing against. He's playing up against Houston, and I know Houston. If you look at their record, it's not the greatest, but Houston is actually number one against opposing quarterbacks. They have only allowed 9.39 points on an average so far this year. That's crazy to me.
And that's one
That's
of his
crazy.
lowest projection games too. So
Exactly, because look, and this is crazy, and this is the people, and I know a lot of these. You have okay, so they had Matthew Stafford. He ended up being quarterback 20. Baker Mayfield is the highest one so far. But he was only quarterback 15. Trevor Lawrence wound up being quarterback 28, and then Cam Ward quarterback 31, and Cooper Rush quarterback 28. Kind of erased the last two because one's a rookie and the other one's filling in for Lamar, but the other three, like Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and Trevor Lawrence, they're normally scoring higher than, quarterback 28, quarterback 20, and quarterback 15 on most weeks. So, Sam Darnold, that's a very dangerous game to play when you're playing against Houston. Honestly, I would pivot to somebody else that week. Unless you just absolutely have to play him, but I would be looking for a pivot for right now. I would be looking for somebody on the waiver wire, or if you got a nice backup you can throw in there. I would definitely try to find something else than to start him against Houston.
that covers Austin's sits and starts. I like some of his picks. He gave a little bonus one, which is always great. So I'm definitely looking forward to week 7. Now, guys, the most nightmarish week is coming up. You guys say, well, what do you mean the most nightmarish week? Week 8 will be your most nightmarish week. Reason why, on top of injuries and all the great things that are happening in the NFL, you're going to have 6 teams on a bye for week 8. So get ready
Oh,
for week
it's
8
the
to be an upside down roller
it's
coaster.
the it's the bye apocalypse.
Yes, it's the apocalypse. I mean, all these weeks with 2 teams on it, they couldn't figure out how to move one of them to one of them weeks. Instead, they said, you know what? We got to give 1 week where fantasy football just goes to like total. Like let's just not do it like right off the bat. We're gonna wait mid-season and throw this fastball in there and
I
watch how these
predict
fantasy leaders go. Like if you're winning, there's a chance you might not win that week.
I predict week 8 will be our highest viewed episode since there's going to be so many bye weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean it's gonna be crazy because you're gonna be like, who is starting and who is not. So,
Yeah,
uh, yeah. So guys, if you like the content, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And what do you always say?
make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That's right. And let me tell you right now, college football is crazy. So if you're not ready for it, don't turn on the TV. Okay. Uh,
Mm.
well, let me say the other night I had to turn off my TV, but I won't go and say any more than what I said. Um, but yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that night. I think that night's already over and done past, and I'm just going to go to bed and forget about it. But and I'm going to leave it at that. And it wasn't college. I'm talking pros on that one. But yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
But at least I want to get one night out of a year. I'm not like some teams that get it every night. So it's like I can't complain. Uh,
Now, if they don't get their offense in line and quit yapping at each other, it might be more than one night.
It's only one offensive member yapping. They need to straighten that out. And really, I don't think he's like the greatest anymore when the other one's definitely picking up his little piece of it now. Do we really need that drama this year? I mean, it was a hurt last year.
I mean, I was gonna say what it's like. He did the same thing last year, though.
And he did it the year
Started
before
yapping
where
and stuff.
it cost us the Super Bowl. It cost, not that year, it didn't cost us the Super Bowl, but the year prior to that it did. So it's like, I don't know. This is just me looking on the outside. I don't truly know what happens. I'm not like in the locker room looking through the little peephole, watching the guys or anything like that. Kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want to call last night. And maybe it's just that guy, a little scatteraboo thing happening where he just hits things and things just doesn't work. I mean, I don't know.
It was,
I mean,
but the combination between Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart, that that was crazy.
yeah, but I really think we're kind of shoot too far with the Jackson Dart. I think the scatteraboo's real. And the reason why is he's going to be short lived, but while we see him, it's going to be great. And the reason why I say he's going to be short lived is, as my wife would always say, I'm a grown ass woman. Uh, these are grown ass men. So, yeah, he's hitting up against them. He's knocking them over. But sooner or later, that's got to do something to your body. It can't sustain for a long period of time. We might get a good 3-4 years of what we're seeing going on with him, and I love it. I love the toughness. I
Either,
love the
either
grit.
that, either, either that, or he goes on a Christian McCaffrey way and like be really damn good for a couple of years and be hurt for a couple of years, but when he plays, he's really damn good.
Yeah, but I think he hits harder and where Christian McCaffrey took care of himself. He just knew how to dodge and get out of the way.
He didn't the other years.
Well, that's true too. So yeah, either way, yeah, he was a tough. Yeah, we could get another one of that. I mean, but the quarterback side of it, I don't think. I don't want to say. I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy yet. I want to wait and see. I like what I've seen so far, but there's so much more still needs to be seen. And let's see how he
Well,
progresses.
here's the thing: we are so quick. Now, this goes for both sides. We are so quick on not, and this is any player, but especially the quarterbacks. We are so quick on deeming a rookie either overrated or underrated. Like it goes either way, right?
Yeah,
You know, and we're so quick on doing that. I think my opinion, I was like, well, let's see, let's let him play. Let's let the young kid play out his rookie year. And I'm willing to let it go 2 years or three, depending on how bad it is or how good it is. It just depends. But like the Trevor Lawrence thing, this is why this is a big topic to me right now because Trevor Lawrence, when he was coming out of Clemson, they all thought he was a god. They all thought he was the next generational talent and stuff. And then, the first year it was with Urban Meyer. So I kind of just scratched that. I was like, that year was just
I don't think
that
that
was
was
just
it.
a,
He
that
was
was just,
gone. He was
that was
gone.
just, that was just a whatever year, right? So, we're not going to count that, but he's like 4 years in now, 5 years in now, and I am willing to say, yeah, he's over. Like right now, he's a kind of a veteran, as you can put it. Now he's not a rookie. In my opinion, he's overrated. I mean,
Yeah, but you
he's
can't put
not
Urban Myers
overrated.
in that conversation when he didn't even get to
Yes, you
start the
can.
season. No, he
Yes, you.
was knocked
Yes.
out of the picture before the season.
No, he wasn't. Urban Meyer was in there, and then they halfway through they got rid of his
They
butt.
got rid of him before the season started, nearly.
He no, he started in the season. Don't give me that
Yeah.
crap. He,
Well,
he got down to Florida and started partying too hard again.
whatever. I think
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bash your god of a coach. I apologize.
I think Ryan Day's a lot better coach than he is. That's my God.
Oh, okay.
That is my God. I think Ryan Day, even when everybody was bashing Ryan Day, I was like, he's such a good coach.
They only
But
bash him. They only bash him when y'all play Michigan.
Yeah, I know. So stop. That's what I'm saying.
Look, y'all. Look, just beat Michigan this year, and all that goes away.
No, I'd rather him win a national championship. That's what I'm looking
Well,
at.
yeah, sure, I get that, but beat Michigan too, and all that will go away.
All right. Well, so here, let me give you guys a hint before we let the show go. Like, I agree 100% what Austin's saying. We tend to jump the gun and we go bam, 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 bam. This quarterback's going to be great. This quarterback's not. And we jump the gun so quick. But the reality of it is Jackson Dart is doing better than Michael Penix. Way
Mhm.
better. And if not, yes, comparable to Trevor Lawrence, he's right now trending to be a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. So, and on top of that, I'm not done. He's trending to be better than J.J. McCarthy. Okay,
I mean,
he's better. He's
everybody is.
trending to be better than Sam Arnold, and I think he will be in the mid range of quarterbacks. I want to see what
Let's
I'm
just
afraid
see it.
of. He's not being smart sometimes with some of his stuff that could end up costing him the career. But let's see how. Maybe it's a learning curve. Maybe he'll get out of that, and he'll let the scam Cataboo guy tear up half the line. He just has to stand there and watch the damage. It might turn out good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys need to tune in. Like I said, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and as Austin always said, sharing is caring.